Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. I'm B Craig here with BCraigTrades. Just want to go over a strategy that you can use in order to play earnings. Earnings season can be a very exciting time, but also it's easy to lose a lot of money. As you can see here, I have AMD pulled up. I'm going to show you a quick example how you can play these earnings, not get burnt on them. I feel like sometimes when you're a new trader, you kind of gamble a little bit with your earnings because it looks like you can make a lot of money, but you really can't when it comes to stock options at least. So I'm gonna go ahead and get into that. As always, if you aren't subscribed, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. I do have a free Discord where I give out free alerts, market analysis, things of that nature. That link will be right there, the first pinned comment. And make sure you give this video a thumbs up if you did find some value in it. So guys, here we are. We have the AMD chart here, and the thing about this is this look. You're kind of gambling when it comes to earnings anyway. So if you are holding calls or puts, during earnings, it's always a gamble because the stock doesn't always react the way that it should react. A company sometimes can report and knock out stellar earnings, and then the stock goes down. Sometimes a company reports okayish earnings or kind of bad earnings, but maybe the outlook for next year is super good and stock pops higher. But as you can see in this AMD chart, we popped higher, but we had to fill that gap when we popped higher, and we just came all the way back down. It's almost like initial reaction. So when you are playing these earnings, you might have some calls and you see after hours, oh wow, the stock's up 3 points, and you kind of calculate in your head how much money you're going to make already. But then as soon as the market opens, even sometimes before that, in pre-market stock, might start cooling off or coming down a bit. And right here, you have a classic example of just a gap fill. It gapped up and you kind of just fill that gap back down. And it's probably some profit taking. Some people maybe just want to get out up there, but that's why it's really hard to play earnings sometimes. And this is the AMD. They had some really stellar earnings. I think they said revenue is going to increase by 50 or 40% this year. Great, nice earnings. As you can see, it came down to a low here. It wasn't even trading that low yesterday during trading. So that has me thinking. So for tomorrow, Facebook reported after the bell today. They had a really good earnings also. This is what the Facebook chart looks like. So in my head, I'm thinking, is Facebook going to react the same way as AMD? Are we going to, we hit a high of 328. Like, are we going to come all the way back down to 310-ish level? Tomorrow's a Thursday, so we are getting some pretty cheap contracts and options. So I might play some puts tomorrow. And see how the stock reacts the first couple minutes of the open. If we really don't start to gain some momentum, I'm gonna go ahead and grab some puts on Facebook tomorrow and see if we can fill that gap back down. When you are playing the options, calls or puts into earnings, a lot of times you have IV kill, so the movement is already kind of priced into the options already. And then when it does make that move, you wake up next morning and you probably either lost a little bit of money or you still flat, and it's kind of hard to understand because the stock is up 3, 4, 5% after hours. And it's kind of a risky move. When you first get into the market, you just always see stocks jumping up during earnings and it looks really, really good. But as you start to really get some experience in this market, that earnings season can be an exciting time. But you really don't want to hold calls or puts through options. And if you do, maybe you had some calls or some puts through intraday, and then you sold off most of them. There's maybe a few trails on, just to pick up the loose change, and if you can catch another movement. But another way you can play some pretty good earnings, and I'm gonna have to go back to this AMD chart here. You can play the earnings run up. This is another way you can play. So if we take this chart here and we go to the 5-day 5-minute chart, look at AMD. So this is an easy run up play, kind of running up to some pretty good earnings. Everybody's kind of feeling good about AMD's earnings here. From last week, you can just play it. He had a low of 78 and it peaked out at 89 bucks. So that's another thing you can do. I like to play the earnings run up, or if a company does report some really stellar and knockout earnings, if they do get a whole bunch of upgrades next morning, I'll go ahead and play a continuation. That's the perfect catalyst for a stock to go higher. It's a big B on earnings and then getting some analysis upgrades and then bank upgrades, and that's perfect for a stock to go higher. Sometimes if you do go, sometimes you still can get a couple upgrades and stock might go down, but if a company really reports some great earnings, I think last year it was Snapchat that reported some really stellar earnings. They kind of surprised the street, and they got a whole bunch of price upgrades after that, and target upgrades, and the stock was able to run up. So I was able to play that after effect of it, and that's kind of a safer bet for me. I really don't like swinging overnight with earnings. That's just way too risky. That's just a few ways that you can play earnings. I know it can be a little confusing, but these are really exciting times when these earnings come out. Kind of gives you overall market sentiment too. So since we had some really good earnings in FANG, you know, the SPY have reason to go higher now. 30% of SPY stocks was reported this week, and most of them were pretty good. Google had stellar earnings. AMD had really good earnings. Apple had killer earnings here. There's another one too I can actually pull up because Apple kind of gapped up too. The same thing at AMD and Facebook did. Look at this. Apple closed today about closed at 133. We have 133.58, went to a high of 139, finally broke that 135-ish level that I really couldn't break. So where do we go from here? You know, and now look, if you're looking after hours, that level has become support. So maybe we do drop down to that support tomorrow and then bounce higher. But I kind of like Apple here, even the long term. We finally got through that 135 wall. Sometimes it takes like a big product announcement or some earnings in order for it to really go further. But you know, those are a couple of plays I could play tomorrow. The Apple, maybe some Apple puts, maybe some Facebook puts. I do have some SPY calls for the end of the week, SPY 420 calls, and with, you know, Apple being a pretty big heavyweight on S&P 500 SPY, I'm expecting SPY to kind of gradually slowly go up tomorrow. So hopefully those perform well for me tomorrow too. But guys, that's about it for this video. Let's kind of do a quick little video of how you guys can play earnings, be a better trader, and not risk as much in the market. As always, guys, make sure you go ahead and like this video. Go ahead and subscribe to the channel if you would like some more content like this. And thanks for watching.